Thank you for joining us today for this panel discussion. We are here to talk about GameFi, which was a major player in the last crypto bull cycle, as users were already able to experience tokenomics in Web2 games. So GameFi emerged as an intuitive area where NFTs and fungible tokens could find out the usage and utility easily. However, the previous iteration faced clear limitations in blockchain integration with games. I'm really honored to be the moderator of discuss how the trends in GameFi are evolving past those challenges with four leading experts and pioneers in the field. Before we dive into the specifics, let me introduce myself and our panelists briefly. My name is Nao Park, a research lead at Bloom Media, and we have Michael Tong, Exterio, co-founder, and Corey Leon, Pixelverse co-founder of Pixelverse, and Giulio Giulianis, CEO of Pixelmon, and Leo, CGO of Carve. So please give a brief introduction to the audience, please.
Hi, nice meeting you, everyone. My name is Michael, and I am the founder of Exterio, and CEO and founder. And Exterio is a publisher of Web3 games, and we have our own chains. We also make our own games and work with a lot of third parties.
Hey, Corey from Pixelverse. We are a gaming studio building mostly Telegram mini games. We have the third biggest one on Telegram at the moment. Also one of the biggest Ton NFT collection. And we are launching a web browser game. So essentially using Telegram as a way of distribution for us and for all the IPs that we're creating.
Hi everyone, I'm Giulio. I'm a co-founder at Pixelmon and Mon Protocol. We are game developers of a monster collecting IP called Pixelmon, and at the same time we have a publishing protocol called Mon Protocol that publishes our own games and third-party games.
Yeah, hi everyone, this is Leo from Carve. What we are building in Carve is a modular data layer for gaming and for AI to make sure the users can share the value from their data exchange and also in a privacy-preserving manner. And based on the data layer, we have developed several products, including CarPlay, a gaming social profiling and distribution platform with around 4 million users. And I'm very happy to join this panel.
Oh, thank you for your introductions. Once again, it's a really honor to have you here. Let's start off. The first question is, when we talk about games, we often encounter considerable skepticism in crypto market, right? The biggest doubt is that most so-called Web3 games today are merely Web2 games with token actions added. So what magic does blockchain possess that can truly differentiate games from Web2 era? Why do games need crypto? Michael, would you like to start?
We can talk about the tech first and the theory first. Okay. So on the tech and the theory, I think there are a few points, right? One is that Web3 is you have immutable ownership, right? So when you actually own something in the game that belongs to you, when you're in the Web2 game, when you own something in the game that actually belongs to the publisher. You never own anything inside the game, right? So that's the kind of the immutable thing. And then another part is very important, I think is actually more important, is that the governance is composed by a lot of people, including the players, and which is very important. For example, when you are a very good gamer in a Web2 game, every new version, they will come out with a new boss or a new balancing between different players or different monsters and different characters. And you don't have any say. And when you are very well trained, let's make it a very simple game, right? Like a soccer game. Let's say you are very well trained with one player, one soccer player, right? And you put a lot of time in training it and skills and all of this kind of thing. But in the next version, that the statistics for that person has changed, right? And then you lose all your work. And it's kind of sad, I think, right? But in Web3, theoretically, you can have say in the characters. Like the same for Dota 2, the same for League of Legends and everything, right? And then, of course, another thing is I would say is permissionless. Permissionless also meaning that you can build a lot of things onto the structure, on the infrastructure of that game. So maybe there's a game in the future, of course not now, that the client side can be very different. So you may be playing in your client and I may be playing in my client with different graphics, but at the same time it's actually the same game. And, and a lot of the extension can be built. So I think these are some of the things that I feel is very different in Web3 comparing to Web2. But I have to say this is theoretical for now. I don't see a lot of games doing this, but I think it's interesting from the technical point of view.
Thank you for your opinion. That was real good points. Corey, would you like it?
Yeah, I guess the main point is digital ownership. But in my case, so we have mostly Web2 users. In the case of Pixelverse, millions that are purely like newbies, I would say, coming from emerging countries, mostly CIS region, Nigeria, and some others. And the way we are approaching things is like, oh, are we going to convert that from Web2 to Web3? And so what's the benefit, essentially? And honestly, all the technical stuff, okay, they care, but at the end of the day, they just care about the gameplay and what's the game design. So now all the questions that we are asking and questioning ourselves are mainly driven by what type of gameplay that blockchain technology can enable to create it more entertaining and fun. And I can give you like some concrete example, like from games that we know. So if we look at pure game design of, let's say, Resident Evil, like Resident Evil, you are playing, you have limited amount of ammunition, gear and stuff, and it's a survival game, and so you need to be very cautious by number of ammunition, versus Doom, where you can like essentially blast all your ammunition because you are going to get over and over ammunition. So the way we are approaching things at Pixelverse is mostly trying to understand what could be the capabilities enabled by blockchain from pure gameplay perspective that can influence player behaviors. So let's say you are putting at stake one of your NFT when you are playing against an opponent in Pixelverse and fighting. And if you are losing your NFT, like imagine the level of stress. It's like totally different. So that's today kind of the questions that I'm the most interesting is like, oh, we can create like stronger emotions, maybe tied to the game, but it can be also some other example. Let's say you have a fractionalized NFT. And you have many people who can own this NFT. You can instantly giving a sense of community and common shared purpose about owning this extremely rare NFT and items that's going to help you to achieve a quest, for example. And I think this is much more interesting. I mean, for me, it's much more interesting to think about how to increase the sense of purpose, increasing the stickiness of a guild and stuff like this, rather than only the pure technical background, which is data ownership, and that's the most important. But at the end of the day, I'm more interested into enhancing the gameplay.
I fully agree with that. So, Julia, would you like to continue?
So I think both Michael and Corey gave great answers. So they spoke about ownership, they spoke about incentivization. I'll maybe take a step back and say, for me, it ultimately Web3 needs to radically alter game design possibilities to truly break through. I think the holy grail, frankly, of Web3 gaming is to move to a level where effectively, thanks to crypto rails and blockchain in games, you're creating player-to-player massive economies rather than developer-to-player massive economies. And this essentially means we've seen it in the past, just without blockchain in the MMO space and on the gray market because they didn't have crypto rails and they couldn't do it in game. So I think I'm waiting, and I'm trying to work on it too, but for that crypto game where you start seeing the game being a platform and the transactions between players, whether those are purchase transactions or the example that Corey just gave of, oh, I lost my gun and my gun was an NFT and I lost it. Why? Because I wasn't the winner of the bout. But as long as you're creating transfers at scale between players of things they truly own because of the ownership concept that it introduces, I think you're introducing a radical change to game logic, game design, and you are creating the third business model change in gaming. So from premium gaming to free-to-play gaming to game as a platform. Somewhere we're probably already seeing it in Web 2. I mean, Roblox is probably the closest thing to this in some way. It's still between creator and player rather than creators and players. Let's just take it to player to player, creator to player, player to creator. That's where it can take us.
Thank you. So, Leo, you are the last. So,
Yeah, for me, totally agree with Julio that I think the true empowerment from Web3 games is like the redistribution of the value generated from games. I think Web3 technology is not like revolutionize the gaming development process. For me personally, I'm not a big fan of like having really a large amount of users co-build a game. Maybe for some genres like Roblox, the sandbox game is able to do that. But for most of the genres, like game industry is anyway is a creativity industry. So it's like all creations, there need to be an author. It's very hard to have like too many users co-build a game in most genres that can have a good game. So what I think the empowerment from the Web3 games or the crypto technology on games is like first solving the existing problems in Web2 world, or it's like to redistribute the value generated from the game industry. For me, it refers to two concepts, which is like play to earn and also the ownership of the assets in the game. I think when we say play to earn, it's not like purposely provide some rewards, no matter token or cash, to the users to attract them to join and to raise the price of token or extra. It's not in this way, but it's like in the existing consistent business models in Web2 world, like IA or IAP, like redistribute the revenue share to the users. For example, depends on like the user's data value in advertisement, or depends on the user's in-game interactions with the advertisement, the revenue generated. So part of the revenue shared to the users. That is the redistribution of the revenue in IA games. And also in IAP games, just like have mentioned that like in the games, the users can play and to generate or own some assets. And this assets is tradable. This is not a new thing like in World of Warcraft or like EVE Online, users can do that. But all this trade market is like controlled by the official, and they can decide on the commission rate or can decide on the market can run or not. But in Web3, it's like totally owned by the users. Users can decide like how to deal with my assets and is trade or not. So I think the true empowerment from the Web3 technology on games is like the play to earn and also the ownership of the assets.
thank you all for your sharing. But next question can be a little tricky to answer, but I have to ask you. From the last cycle to the present, is there a truly representative Web3 game? Why is it considered representative? Anyone want to take this first?
Me, I will say Axie Infinity for sure. I mean, for me, because it's really like brought the play to earn ID. And it's the same, like even it's going down, up like on the price of the token, it's like NFT. I think that's this kind of like, it became a mainstream phenomenon. And even now, like recently, someone sent me a video of people playing in cyber cafe in Manila. And I think that any actor in the crypto space who are bringing attention to the crypto space should be given like the title of key crypto type of game from the previous cycle. So yeah, I would say Axie Infinity because they brought attention from mainstream with new type of mechanics play to earn. I guess play to earn has been maybe overused and you need a new tweak. Now we are seeing tap to earn, which is a new model of distribution of the token. With same mechanics, but even like wider when we look at the numbers, like Amstrad Combat 50 million, Bloom 25, us 22 million of users. It's like insane numbers. Axie Infinity was something like 2-3 million, I think, at peak. So it's just like reinventing the model, but I think Axie Infinity really opened up the idea of play to earn.
Yeah, Axie Infinity is like classic game for cryptos. Yeah. Leo, do you have any mind?
Yes, actually, I think I'm sitting with several representative game in this period. Like, yeah, Pixelmon is one of the most expected game recently. And also, I think there are two more genres I think worth mentioning. The first is the genres that like the hyper casual games and on town ecosystem. And because I think one of the main challenges for Web3 games is like how to have the mass adoption face the real large amount of the users, and also converting those Web2 users into Web3. It can be very hard to be a hardcore games, and also with the hardcore Web3, no matter it's wallet or like the private key or the Web3 knowledge on board the games. But it's like for the hyper casual games, I think it's the genre that which is like close to Web3 by nature, like very large users amount, and also with very mature like IAA advertisement, like an in-game business model, and also users do not have a very high requirements on the game's quality. They just care about the short-term fun of the game. So I think that's the reason why on Town ecosystem, the hyper-casual game is very suitable, like to migrate to Telegram. So I think one of the representative game here is Pixelverse. And also for Carve ourselves, we are like working with a studio to develop our own Town game called Banana. And also the users is growing like rapidly. This is the first genre, I think, which is the trend in this period. Another genre, I think, is like to use the AI as the core gameplay. I think right now there are a lot of the like a relationship with AI and game development. But all I want to say is not like using AI tools as the efficient tools to develop game, but it's like using AI as the gameplay. It's like there are some genres. We don't have this genre before AI. For example, the games like Paleo from Exterior. It's like using the natural language to have the interactions with the game. So for us, we try to catch the trend. On one side, we are doing our own Telegram game and also having more games publishing in the next couple of weeks and trying to get more users on board into the Carve protocol. And another side is like for the utility of the Carve's users' data. We are using that for two verticals at the beginning. The first is gaming, another is for AI training. Because for AI training, there's a lot of needs to have the user's personal data for training the AI to make the products understand the users better.
Okay, then Julio and Michael, do you have another game in your mind?
I would have given the same answer as Corey. I mean, I think let's just background this. Why are most of us in this room speaking about Web3 gaming? Why did the ones of us that got VC funding get VC funding? Because Axie made it big. And while that wasn't the perfect solution, and it's not going to be the final solution, maybe it will. I think the guys there are really smart, what they're doing with Veronin, etc. But it certainly proved the value, which created the flock of brains and money to Web3 gaming. So I'm totally with Corey on this. I don't even want to try and give a different answer. So.
Michael?
So besides the games that we make, another one I can think of is maybe Dark Forest. So because it is a fully on-chain game and it is real permissionless and it's really you have to pay a lot of gas fee to pay and still a lot of people play it, then I think it must be a good game. Right.
Well said. So let's move on to the next question. We see that both games still primarily attract gold farming studios, with most players coming to make money. To transition from P2E to P and E, games need to be highly enjoyable and entertaining. And I believe the vast majority of entrepreneurs already considered that this point, fun games don't make players money. And games that make money aren't very fun. So is there a solution to this dilemma? Can entertaining and earning truly coexist? Michael, would you like to start?
Sure. Now, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I know you're a researcher, and do you get paid for your job?
Of course I got paid.
Do you enjoy your job?
Yeah, I do enjoy. Yeah, I do.
So it could happen at the same time. So you can have fun while you work.
Okay.
So I don't really agree to your question so much. I know that of course, I understand a lot of people's work might not be that fun, but I think there are still a good amount of people who make money while having fun. So, and it's, to some extent, it's your attitude, right? So, well, if you play and then you make some money at the same time, I think it can coexist. So that's how I look at it. So I don't really agree to your question somehow.
I love my job. So do you guys agree with him?
So I think you can. So I agree with Michael. I think you can make if you can't have fun while earning, then the entire premise that I said earlier of the designing a new game loop and game economy doesn't work. Let's give an example, because I think this works better with examples. No? Let's use Pokemon because it's a very well-known game and somewhat similar to Pixelmon. But now imagine a microtransaction-driven Pokemon game. We don't have that, but imagine if it was, where you can either train Pikachu from level 1 to 100, or you can microtransact and purchase Pikachu at level 10. Then you can buy a training accelerator potion that helps you go from level 10 to level 20 faster. You've just done 2 microtransactions and you've paid the developer for that. Now imagine an example where that same economy exists, but instead of buying it from the developer, you have the option, let's say I'm the so-called whale in a free-to-play mobile gaming ecosystem, but I'm buying a Pikachu trained by the Carve team, which could be an individual, could be a guild, to level 10. And they're the ones collecting the money for training Pikachu to level 10. I think they've had fun taking him to level 10. And the platform only takes a commission of that. And then I go and get the potion from Corey, who farmed it by collecting a lot of different plants while scouting a certain area of the map, and was able to make the potion. Again, the game takes a transaction fee on it, but the operation is between me and Corey. These are both blockchain transactions that are happening between the 3 of us. And hopefully, we've all 3 made money. We've effectively just recreated in-game the old MMO gray market transactions of switching accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to give you an example to say I think it's totally possible. It's a very basic example, but I think it is.
Okay, so Leo and Curry, do you have another idea on this?
For me, so conclusion first, I think like play to earn or Web3 games can definitely be fun games. But my opinion might be a little bit idealistic, because I think like the fun of the game is decided by the gameplay, and gameplay should not be influenced by a Web2 game or Web3 games. The ideal process should be like develop game, decide on the gameplay, to test the gameplay is fine enough. Then the next step is like there are 2 ways to go, the Web2 way and Web3 way. Web2 ways is like for the distribution of all the value in the game. It's only like the game developer, the publisher, the distribution channels share all the value created from the games. But for Web3 way, there is like users above all this. I think the reason why like currently there's a lot of the play to earn games we think is not fun. It's like the earn is before the game. It's like first this is the play to earn games. So it does not have to be a really fun gameplay to attract the users, because users will join just because they want to earn something. So the requirements for the level of fun of the game and also the quality of the game is quite low. So in this way to develop game, the game is not fun enough.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think like mainly it's about motivation while using like play to earn mechanics. Usually, yeah, it's pre-launch that we are using this method to have good numbers, looking good from external perspective. But in terms of how to use this type of mechanics, I think at the moment, like most of the farmers, they are mostly trying to extract value when they should have the incentive from the token to create value inside the game. So going from consumption economy to more like value-driven economy for them to be incentivized, not necessarily to play and doing kind of a bit dumb actions that they often do. And I'm including myself. Like, I mean, we ask to our users sometimes to simply follow us on Twitter. I mean, it's not very high value in terms of gameplay. But, I mean, I'm conscious about this. And then we know why we do this, because then we are promoting like more content, more media, more educational content and stuff. And there is some reasons. But at the end of the day, I think that most of the token incentives that's coming in place should be done to incentivize people to create more UGC content, and then we come back to the loop that we are speaking since the beginning of the panel, which is the platform where all the assets are created by the player and tradable between them. So that's the main, I think my main comment about this regarding the farmers that are coming to this type of games.
Okay, thank you for your ideas. So let's move on to a lighter question. In the course of your project's development, are there any memorable events that had a positive impact on you that you can share with us? Were there any extremely challenging difficulties you encountered before? So Leo, would you like to start first?
Yes, I think like for Carve, the recent milestone is definitely we launched our first tongue game called Banana. I think I can share a bit more about like the reason why we decided to step into this area and to do this game. The first thing is we see there is like a large users number on tongue ecosystem, and also the games there can grow really fast. And because we are building the modular data layer for gaming, for AI, and that needs the users to contribute their data and allow us to use their data in a privacy-preserving manner. So we think like Telegram ecosystem can allow us to onboard really a large amount of the Web2 users into our protocol. And also after that, we can utilize the users' data with their permission, and in the in-game advertisement for like analyze the users' insights, or like for other things that we can do next, and then share the value back to the users. So we think this is a big chance for the Carve protocol to grow the user space and to empower the users, and also to empower our like other games with partnership with us. And the second thing why we decided to do Banana is because like for me personally, I'm a hardcore gamer, and see that on Steam there is the game called Banana getting really popular, and it's really strange because like we play a lot of the cards RPG games, and in the cards RPG games there is the pleasure of the gacha, and after that there is the gameplay like Genshin Impact. You need to use your card to do something, and also there's progression. But for Banana, it's like a very meme and also like fun art design, really funny. And the only pleasure of the game is gacha, daily gacha on daily basis. You come back to the game to see what is the daily surprise. And we want to catch this pleasure of the game, and also to see like how it can be more suitable to face a larger user space on tongue ecosystem. So we spent around like 1 week to this game, and got 4 million users in around 2 weeks. And this I think is a verification of like the tongue game can actually get a large amount of users, and also the true users onboarding from the Web2 games into Web3 slightly. So we have also invited a small studio to publish more more like Telegram games in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so Giulio?
I mean, I think in every entrepreneur's journey, there's a lot of hard moments, and they tend to all shape you. But trying to answer similarly to Leo, staying close to today, we are, so in 10 days, we're actually unveiling 3 of our games at Gamescom. So all 3 at the same time, and on a very tough audience, because the Gamescom audience is 99.9% Web 2, pure Web 2. And we're really trying to test the fun factor of the games, in fact. So yeah, it's been a very intense 2-3 months leading from our TGE into actually the toughest development sprints from a gaming perspective to make it in time for Gamescom. And yeah, I'm flying to Germany next week for that. And it's gonna probably be nearly more than TGE itself, a moment, a telling moment for our project, because we're so development and IP focused. So yeah, that's the big one coming up for us.
Okay, thank you. So would you like to share?
Yeah, I think like something what surprised us in the team is on the Telegram games and Torn ecosystem, we launched an NFT collection, essentially. We gave different level depending on the game that the users were playing, the statistic and stuff. It was an airdrop. And then if they wanted to mint the NFT, they had the option, giving them like some additional boosters for later on the game. And in 1 week, we sold 200,020 NFT, 100. So it's like almost 1 million revenue coming from NFT sale on Torn. And it's microtransaction. They are spending, all the users are spending $3. So we have 2,100 people, 200,000 people like spending $3 essentially in 1 week inside the game. And this essentially is telling us that there is a new type of audience that can be addressed with hyper casual game, which is different, totally different from the Web3 gaming type of audience. And yeah, just super interesting. And yeah, Banana is also a proven example that it's working, but those people are willing to spend, but they're willing to spend mostly because it's inside the Telegram interface with integration of Tonekeeper, and they're willing to set up a wallet, which is quite crazy because the first time they're setting up a wallet, and they're willing to pay $3 because there is integration with already existing familiar payment provider. So I think in game in general, like it came to my realization that yeah, it's only about payment gateway and simple UX that you need. But payment gateway at the end is the most important in the case of gaming and microtransaction.
Okay, so Michael, do you have any the most impressive events in your mind?
Yes, of course. So the first time I tried playing with ChatGPT about 2 years ago, I can't sleep. And I keep dreaming and dreaming of trying to make a game with AI. And then I go to an office and I see everyone, and everyone I grab them one by one and tell him my ideas. But nobody wants to do it. Until I find a person who is actually not in our company and who is a producer. And he really, really believes in AI, believes in Web3, and at the same time that we share very common ideas about how we make this game become an emotional companion for our players and how we can grow this IP and how to make it into a Web3 game. And the name of the game is called Paleo. And when we actually launched the game about a few months ago, so the first day there was already 1 million DAU for the game, and it's very, very popular, and it's also making money, and with a lot of players in it. And so it's the time when you have an innovative idea and is accepted by someone who shares the same idea, and then making the real product and accepted by a lot of players is the time of like a real achievement and real fun.
Yeah, that's a really good story. And the next question may be the last question. The scale of Web3 gaming users has a ceiling, right? Converting more Web2 gaming users to Web3 gaming users is a challenge faced by every project and the entire Web3 gaming industry. Do you see more opportunities in the future to convert Web2 gamers to Web3 gamers? So, Leo, would you like to start this?
Yes, I think for converting the Web2 gamers into Web3, there are many two paths. The first is converting them to the Web3 games directly. Another is when they can realize there are some existing problems in Web2 world that can be solved by the crypto technology, then they can step into the Web3 world. Then after that, there can be more chance for them to try out Web3 games. So the first part is converting them to the game directly. I think for the true gamers, the only thing they care about is the game is fun or not. If there are two games, one game is fun, another is not, they don't care about what is Web2 or Web3. They only play the fun game. So I think the precondition is the Web3 games can reach at least the same level of the quality and the fun of the game in the same genre compared to the Web2 games. And for example, when we polish the Web2 games, we are going to polish the user's onboarding experience step by step to see the user's churn rate and to polish everything. When there is something that the users cannot understand, it's never the user's problem. It is the developer's problem. We need to change. But in Web3 games, I think for many games, it's very hard to reach the same level of the polishment of the game right now. So I think this is the precondition for converting the Web2 gamers into Web3 games directly. And also, as we have just mentioned, several genres may be closer to Web3 by nature, like hyper-casual game or MMORPG. These games have more chance to onboard the users. And second way is to convert the users into Web3 world first. I think there are some existing problems. For example, in Web2 games, all the users in-game assets, data, achievements, all their gaming memories are distributed into different platforms by different publisher or developer. And the data is not owned by themselves. But in Web3, there's a chance for them to aggregate all their gamers' identity, data, memories into one place. For example, what we do is also like a unified ID NFT to aggregate all this data. This can solve the problem like, for example, Blizzard left China, so it's very hard for the World of Warcraft players to like prove what kind of player I am, what level I am, like in the Chinese version, because they lost their data forever at that moment. So this can solve the problem like this. And also, after the users connect to their different gamer identities, when their data is utilized for some target advertising, the users can never share the revenue. This is the existing problems in Web2 world. And in Web3, there's a chance for we to verify the users, like what is the data contribution and what is the in-game behavior and interactions with the advertisement and extra to provide part of the value that the users deserve to the users. So with all this existing problem solving by Web3 technologies, the users have more chance to onboard into Web3. And after that, they know about like what is wallet, what is private key, what is like the crypto technology and extra. They have more chance to try. Okay, this game is Web3 games, and maybe with the same level of fun, I can try it.
Thank you. Oh, then Corey, do you see another opportunities?
Yeah, you covered all. But no, I will reiterate on the one I said at the beginning. I think, I'm really interested about modifying the player behaviors with Web3, and even last time it's maybe a silly comment that I made to a community member, but basically was saying, oh, it's complicated for me to set up the wallet and stuff, and I just done some, it's part of the game. And I think that's the idea, and I came, actually it was not so stupid that I said, because I was like, maybe like there is some form of gamification that should be even taking part and should endorse by the fact that even if account abstraction and stuff, it's facilitating, but maybe we should not facilitating everything from a Web3 perspective. I still think the UX needs to be as simple as possible, but I'm starting to like the idea of that it's a bit complex somehow because of Web3 or some aspect, and that we should probably play on this to make it even part of the game mechanics somehow. So for trading assets, it's very understandable because you receive directly the fund from NFT sales and stuff. And I think this is the type of feelings that we need to give to users from emotional perspective.
Very well said. So anyone has other opportunities besides two mentioned?
I think if I were to just add one, I think we need to put more resources into distribution and less resources into infrastructure. And this might be not the most, it'll be quite a controversial statement, but think about the Web2 industry. The Web2 consumer layer industry has resources, meaning investor interest is extremely concentrated into distribution. Because ultimately, how many of the big 7 stocks are actually distribution focused? I think the only one that actually isn't is NVIDIA, recent joiner. So all the others, ultimately, their core business model has somewhat transitioned or originated in distribution. If you look at where instead resources are on the crypto side of things, they are very much on infra, which passes for distribution, but especially for Web2 users, it's not actually, unless you're Ton, unless you're doing what Ton is doing, which is combining a distribution platform with an infra layer. So I do think, frankly, the games are getting there. There's been such an influx of capital on game production that just statistically, there's going to be great game loop Web3 games. There is already, and there's going to be more. But I still think, to some extent, maybe Ton for hyper-casual is the exception, but we're still under-investing as a Web3 economy on distribution, or under-indexing from it. And it is a chicken and egg game, meaning it is also about seeing the results of that distribution. But frankly, it is also about the industry's focus has to shift towards how do we distribute, how do we spend money on the consumer type marketing versus the speculator type marketing.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. So Michael, do you have other opportunities? Do you see?
Yeah, the way I think about it is, it just takes a long time. The reason is, how to look at it is, besides making money, I think all the merits of Web3 games just take a long time to experience and then take a long time to share and to tell everyone that is a good thing. But make it into a very good, simple example is that if you want to own some gold versus Bitcoin, right, then you will only be able to experience it if your country is at war, right? Right. So let's say if you are living in a country that is at war, or a country that has very, very high inflation, then I'm sure the people there is going to buy Bitcoin rather than buy gold. Right? I mean, nowadays, right?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it takes a while, and it takes some times. So the things that we talk about, like digital ownership, we talk about permissionless, decentralization, and all these kind of things. It just takes a while for people to really understand the merits of those. But in the future, I'm very sure that there's a very bright future.
So you mean in the future, Web3 gamers will be the basic?
Yeah, that will be the basic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Thank you for your opinions. So I'd love to hear more of your meaningful and in-depth opinions, but unfortunately, the time is running out. So I want to thank everyone for sharing your insights today. It was truly impressive. I'm sure that not only myself, but everyone here has gained a much broader understanding of GameFi. And it has been an honor and a pleasure to have you all here today. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks now and all our guests for the insightful discussion, and I think every one of us learned a lot. 非常感谢 Now 和我们一组嘉宾带来